Have you ever wondered why some nights you drift into peaceful slumber, while others leave you tossing and turning with racing thoughts? What if I told you that those precious moments right before you fall asleep hold more power than you've ever imagined? The transition between wakefulness and sleep, that liminal space where consciousness begins to blur, may be the most potent opportunity you have each day to transform your health, reshape your destiny, and reconnect with your deeper spiritual nature. Throughout human history, mystics and healers have recognized this twilight state as sacred, but perhaps no one understood its significance more profoundly than Edgar Cayce, often called the sleeping prophet of the 20th century. His remarkable insights into human consciousness suggest something that modern science is only beginning to validate. The thoughts we entertain as we drift towards sleep can literally reprogram our bodies and redirect our life paths. But before we begin, please, hit the like button and let me know where in the world you're watching from today. It's always fascinating seeing who's joining us from around the world. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our future videos. Has this ever happened to you? You're lying in bed, finally disconnecting from the day's demands, when suddenly your mind fills with worries about tomorrow's challenges or regrets about yesterday's mistakes. According to Cayce's teachings, this isn't just an inconvenience preventing restful sleep, it's a missed opportunity of extraordinary proportions. The pre-sleep state represents a unique corridor between your conscious and subconscious mind. During these precious moments, the mental barriers we maintain throughout the day begin to dissolve. Your subconscious, that powerful engine driving so much of your health, behavior, and intuitive capabilities, becomes uniquely receptive to new programming. What you focus on during these moments doesn't just affect your dreams, it begins to reshape your physical reality. Stay with me until the end of this exploration, because what you're about to discover might fundamentally change how you approach bedtime each night. Those who have applied these principles report not just improved sleep quality, but remarkable shifts in chronic health conditions, enhanced intuitive abilities, and even synchronistic events that seem to align their external world with their deepest intentions. Imagine if you could transform a mundane nightly routine into a powerful ritual for self-healing and spiritual alignment. The fascinating aspect of Cayce's teachings is that they don't require complex techniques or hours of practice, just a shift in awareness and intention during those fleeting moments when consciousness begins to surrender to sleep. What Cayce discovered through his remarkable trance readings was that this twilight state offers direct access to the body's innate healing intelligence and the soul's broader spiritual resources. It's as if nature designed this daily transition as a reset button, an opportunity to recalibrate our physical systems and realign with our higher purpose. Before we dive deeper, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell. By doing so, you'll join a community exploring the timeless wisdom of Edgar Cayce and other teachings that can transform your life. Now, I want to delve deeper into the remarkable legacy of Edgar Cayce and what it truly means for our understanding of human consciousness. Cayce's ability to access what he called the universal soul library wasn't merely some parlor trick or vague psychic reading. It represented something far more profound about our collective interconnectedness. When Cayce entered his trance states, witnesses described a transformation that went beyond simple meditation. His physical body remained present, while his consciousness appeared to journey elsewhere, accessing a repository of knowledge that transcended time and physical limitations. What's particularly fascinating is how specific and detailed his medical diagnoses were, despite having no formal medical training whatsoever. He would prescribe treatments that seemed bizarre at the time, combinations of herbs, dietary changes, or physical manipulations. Yet patients reported remarkable recoveries when following these unconventional protocols. The hidden truth here is that Cayce's work represents an intersection between ancient wisdom traditions and cutting-edge quantum theory. Modern physicists increasingly theorize about non-local consciousness, the idea that consciousness isn't confined to our brains, but exists in a field that permeates everything. This scientific revelation parallels exactly what Cayce demonstrated nearly a century ago. Consider the journey of one woman diagnosed with terminal cancer in the 1930s. After conventional doctors had given up hope, Cayce prescribed a specific dietary regimen and a series of electrical treatments that weren't common practice. Within months, her cancer went into complete remission. Medical records confirmed both her diagnosis and recovery, creating documentation that still baffles medical experts today. Perhaps what's most impactful about these cases is how they challenge our fundamental understanding of reality itself. If consciousness can access information beyond the constraints of time and space, as Cayce demonstrated, then our entire materialist paradigm requires reconsideration. We're not just talking about psychic phenomena, we're potentially witnessing the mechanics behind intuition, inspiration, and even certain aspects of human genius. Behind the scenes of Cayce's work was a rigorous documentation process. The Association for Research and Enlightenment has preserved over 14,000 of his readings, creating one of the largest databases of psychic information ever compiled. Researchers continue finding correlations between his health recommendations and recent medical discoveries, sometimes validating treatments he prescribed decades before science caught up. The implications extend beyond medicine into other domains. Cayce made geological predictions about shifting land masses and climate changes that seemed implausible in his time, but align with current environmental observations. His archaeological insights about ancient civilizations have led researchers to discoveries that weren't verified until years after his death. If you're finding these connections between ancient wisdom and modern discovery as fascinating as I do, write in the comments. The universal library exists. Now, as we continue exploring the boundaries between consciousness and reality, as we explore this healing revelation, I want you to truly understand the tremendous power that exists within your mind-body connection. The external world has conditioned us to seek outside remedies, pills, treatments, expert opinions, before ever turning inward to the extraordinary healing capabilities we already possess. This journey toward health transformation often begins in the most overlooked moment, those precious minutes before we surrender to sleep. When you lie in bed at night, your conscious mind still active but gradually relinquishing control, you enter a unique gateway between worlds. This twilight state is where your conscious direction can most effectively program your subconscious mind. Instead of replaying the day's worries or scrolling through social media, this becomes your opportunity to plant seeds of renewal that will grow throughout your night's rest. The practice is beautifully simple, yet profoundly effective. As you're drifting towards sleep, deliberately imagine vibrant health flowing through every cell of your body. See yourself embodying the vitality you desire. Feel the strength in your limbs, the clarity in your mind, the resilience in your organs. This isn't mere fantasy. You're actually creating a blueprint that your subconscious mind will work to manifest while you sleep. If this message resonates with you, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. New videos like this one are released regularly, and subscribing ensures you never miss the powerful insights that could change your health, your mind, and your spirit. What makes this approach so revolutionary is that it bypasses the critical faculty of your conscious mind. During normal waking hours, your analytical brain might reject healing suggestions with thoughts like, "That's impossible," or "My condition is too serious." But in the pre-sleep state, these limiting beliefs lose their grip, allowing healing suggestions to penetrate deeply. Behind the scenes of your awareness, your body responds to these mental images with remarkable precision. Research in psychoneuroimmunology has revealed that visualization activates many of the same neural pathways as actual physical experience. When you vividly imagine robust health, your brain doesn't fully distinguish between the visualization and reality. It begins initiating physiological responses aligned with your mental picture. This practice requires consistency and belief, but not in the way most people think. You don't need to believe in some mystical process. You simply need to engage fully in the exercise, allowing yourself to experience the feelings of wellness as vividly as possible. The biochemical cascades that follow aren't based on faith, but on the fundamental mechanisms of how your mind communicates with your body. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by explaining how specificity in your pre-sleep visualization can target particular health concerns with surprising accuracy. Your subconscious mind responds to detailed instructions, not vague wishes. When you direct your focus toward a specific area of healing, you're essentially highlighting that region for special attention from your body's innate intelligence. If this approach resonates with your intuition about how healing really works, write in the comments, "My mind is my medicine." I'd love to know how many of you have already experienced the power of your thoughts in creating physical change. Edgar Cayce's approach to healing wasn't just revolutionary, it was a complete paradigm shift in how we understand wellness. What makes his legacy so powerful is how he viewed the human experience as an intricate tapestry where spiritual, mental, and physical threads are constantly interacting. This holistic perspective was radical for his time when medicine was becoming increasingly specialized and compartmentalized. Cayce understood that true healing requires addressing the whole person, not just isolating symptoms. The transformation begins when we recognize, as Cayce did, that our bodies often express what our minds and spirits are experiencing. This interconnection explains why emotional distress can manifest physically, and why spiritual disconnection might appear as chronic illness. The medical community has only recently begun to acknowledge what Cayce intuited nearly a century ago, that our thoughts create pathways in our physical reality. Now, I want to go even deeper into the revelations about how our minds work during that mysterious transition to sleep. There's a hidden truth about this liminal space that few people fully appreciate. Just before you drift off to sleep, your conscious mind begins to relax its grip, and the subconscious emerges into a particularly receptive state. During these precious moments, the critical faculty that normally filters information becomes permeable. This is why the thoughts you entertain right before sleep carry such profound impact. Cayce understood this threshold state as a powerful opportunity for transformation. Negative thoughts or worries during these moments can embed themselves deeply, influencing your perception, decisions, and even your physical health. Conversely, constructive affirmations or peaceful imagery can work powerful changes in your psyche when introduced during this receptive period. People often underestimate the journey that occurs in this pre-sleep state. Your mind doesn't simply shut down. It shifts into a different mode of processing. In this state, you have a unique window to communicate directly with the deeper aspects of yourself, bypassing the usual mental chatter and resistance. This explains why problems that seemed unsolvable during the day sometimes resolve themselves after a good night's sleep. Your subconscious mind continued working through them in a way your waking mind couldn't. The practical application of this knowledge is straightforward, yet profound. By intentionally curating what you focus on before sleep, you're essentially programming your subconscious for the hours ahead. This isn't just about positive thinking, It's about understanding and working with the natural rhythms and capacities of your mind. If you've ever experienced the power of this pre-sleep state in your own life, whether through intentional practice or by chance, write "threshold insight" in the comments. Now, as we continue exploring Cayce's understanding of consciousness, the impact of our emotions before sleep extends far beyond what most people realize. Think about those nights when you went to bed carrying anger, frustration, or resentment. You likely woke up the next morning feeling like something was draining your energy, almost as if you were carrying an invisible weight on your shoulders. This isn't just psychological, it's a spiritual principle that operates in our lives whether we acknowledge it or not. When we enter the dream realm with negative emotions, we're essentially programming our spiritual and physical systems to process that negativity throughout the night. It's like leaving a download of harmful files running while your computer is in sleep mode. By morning, those files have integrated into your operating system, affecting everything from your mood to your physical well-being. I discovered this transformation in my own journey when I started practicing emotional clearing before sleep. Instead of rehearsing the day's frustrations, I began intentionally releasing them through forgiveness, both of others and myself. The revelation was immediate and profound. My mornings shifted from groggy heaviness to refreshed clarity. This isn't merely about positive thinking. It's about understanding the hidden mechanisms that govern our spiritual and physical restoration during sleep. Our subconscious mind doesn't stop working when we close our eyes. If anything, it becomes more active, processing the emotional content we've fed it throughout the day. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by sharing something many spiritual teachers understand but rarely explain clearly. The dream state is actually a powerful realm where our soul can heal or continue to be wounded, depending on what we bring into it. When we enter sleep, having forgiven those who wronged us and released our negative attachments, we create space for genuine spiritual renewal. This practice has ancient roots across virtually every wisdom tradition, from Eastern philosophies to indigenous teachings. They all recognize that the threshold between wakefulness and sleep is sacred ground, a crossroads where we can choose which energetic patterns to carry forward. The decision to release negativity before sleep is perhaps one of the most impactful yet overlooked practices for spiritual advancement. When you consciously choose forgiveness and gratitude as your final thoughts, you're essentially setting your internal compass toward healing while you sleep. Of course, this doesn't mean suppressing authentic emotions. It's about acknowledging them, processing them healthily, and then intentionally releasing their hold on you before you drift into sleep. This subtle shift creates profound ripples throughout your entire life, affecting relationships, opportunities, and even physical health in ways that might seem miraculous if you didn't understand the underlying principles. If you've been experiencing this phenomenon in your own life, or if this explanation resonates with what you've intuitively felt, write "I'm reclaiming my sleep" in the comments. I'll be reading through them to see who's ready for this spiritual breakthrough. These predictions have captured public imagination for decades, showcasing how Cayce's work transcended mere forecasting. His approach was deeply holistic, connecting physical health, mental states, and spiritual well-being into a unified vision of human existence. Now, I want to go even deeper into what made Cayce's work particularly transformative during one of America's darkest periods. The Great Depression wasn't just an economic crisis, it was a collective trauma that shook the foundation of American identity. During this time of widespread despair, Cayce's readings offered something precious, hope based on personal empowerment rather than external circumstances. People who had lost everything, their savings, homes, and sense of security, found in Cayce's guidance a framework for rebuilding their inner lives first. His emphasis on the mind-body connection provided practical tools when material solutions seemed impossible. A particularly revealing case involved a businessman who had not only lost his financial standing, but was suffering from debilitating insomnia and anxiety. This man's journey reveals the hidden mechanisms behind Cayce's approach. After consulting Cayce, the businessman learned that his pre-sleep mental habit of replaying the day's failures and worrying about tomorrow was literally poisoning his system. The reading suggested a simple but profound shift, spending 15 minutes before sleep, visualizing positive outcomes and expressing gratitude. What's remarkable is the ripple effect this mental shift created. Within weeks, his sleep improved dramatically. As his physical health stabilized, his decision-making clarity returned. 6 months later, he had not only secured new employment, but was innovating solutions for his company based on insights that came during his now restful sleep. This wasn't coincidence. It was a demonstration of Cayce's core belief that consciousness shapes reality, not just the other way around. The transformation wasn't unique. Thousands of similar cases documented during this period show a pattern that modern neuroscience now validates. Our mental state directly impacts our physiology, which in turn affects our external circumstances. Cayce was mapping these connections long before terms like neuroplasticity entered our vocabulary. What's particularly revealing is how Cayce's approach differs from both religious doctrine and scientific materialism of his time. Rather than offering blind faith or cold analysis, he provided a middle path, practical spirituality that could be applied regardless of one's religious background. This universal quality allowed his work to cross boundaries of class, education, and belief during a time when America needed unifying perspectives. The businessman's story illuminates a crucial insight that remains relevant today. Our mental habits before sleep serve as programming instructions for both our body and subconscious mind. By changing his pre-sleep routine, he wasn't just feeling better, he was literally rewiring his biological and psychological response systems. If you've ever noticed how your thoughts before bed seem to shape your next day, type "evening mind" in the comments. I'd love to know how many of you have experienced this connection firsthand. Our dreams become the canvas where our inner healing begins to take shape. But what we feed our subconscious before sleep influences this process profoundly. Edgar Cayce emphasized this connection, suggesting that the thoughts and energies we entertain just before falling asleep can significantly impact our healing journey. Think about it. Those final moments as consciousness fades represent a critical transition where our mind becomes more receptive to suggestion. Many people unknowingly sabotage their healing by reviewing problems, conflicts, or worries right before sleep. This creates a blueprint that the subconscious faithfully works with throughout the night. Instead, Cayce recommended consciously directing thoughts toward constructive imagery, affirmations of health, and alignment with higher purpose during those precious pre-sleep moments. The internal dialogue we maintain shapes our healing trajectory. When we feed our mind with positive expectations and align with divine harmony before sleep, we're essentially programming our internal healing system for success. This isn't merely positive thinking. It's about creating the optimal conditions for the body's natural restoration processes to function at their best. What's particularly fascinating is how Cayce described the healing process itself. He viewed healing not as a mechanical function, but as a profound conversation between soul and body. According to his readings, true healing occurs when the soul instructs the physical form to realign with divine order. It's as if the soul carries the perfect blueprint for health, and healing happens when the body receives and implements those instructions. This perspective transforms our understanding of the healing journey, Rather than viewing illness as something to fight against, we might see it as an opportunity for realignment, a chance for deeper integration between our physical existence and spiritual essence. The body becomes the student, and the soul becomes the teacher, guiding us back toward wholeness through its timeless wisdom. This soul-centered approach to healing invites a profound shift in how we relate to our health challenges. Instead of focusing exclusively on external treatments, we might also turn inward, listening for the soul's guidance and creating space for its healing intelligence to emerge. Our physical symptoms become not just problems to solve, but messages to interpret, communications from our deeper self about what needs attention and realignment. Now, I want to go even deeper into this transformative perspective by examining how Cayce's views on healing intersect with modern understanding of mind-body medicine. The revelations continue to build upon themselves, showing us that the ancients understood connections that science is only now beginning to verify through research. If these ideas resonate with your own experiences or intuitions about healing, type "Soul Wisdom Speaks" in the comments below. This simple habit of mental decluttering before sleep shapes your cellular experience in ways modern medicine is only beginning to understand. When you carry the weight of unprocessed emotions to bed, your body remains in a subtle state of stress throughout the night. Your cells are literally bathing in the chemistry of your unresolved thoughts. Many ancient healing traditions recognize this profound connection between our pre-sleep mindset and physical well-being. They understood what cutting-edge epigenetic research now confirms. The energetic environment we create before sleep directly influences how our genes express themselves during those crucial regenerative hours. I've witnessed remarkable transformations in people who adopted this one practice. A client who struggled with chronic inflammation for years found that when she began releasing her daily tensions before sleep through a simple gratitude practice, her inflammatory markers started dropping within weeks. Her doctor was stunned by the improvement, but the connection is clear when you understand that gratitude literally shifts your biochemistry toward healing. Another powerful revelation comes from studying those rare individuals who maintain vibrant health despite significant genetic predispositions to disease. Research consistently shows these outliers share one common thread. They've developed rituals that help them enter sleep in a state of emotional and mental peace. It's not just about feeling better. It's about creating the optimal internal environment for your body's natural regenerative processes to work unhindered. The journey to mastering this pre-sleep sacred moment isn't always straightforward. Most people experience resistance. At first, the mind wants to keep processing, planning, or ruminating. But with consistent practice, you'll discover an almost magical threshold where the day's mental burdens can be consciously set down. This invisible skill may be the most impactful health practice you ever develop. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how specific thought patterns before sleep correlate with particular physical manifestations. The hidden truth is that your pre-sleep thoughts aren't just affecting your sleep quality. They're writing instructions for your cellular repair systems throughout the night. If you're starting to see how this one overlooked habit might be affecting your own health journey, write in the comments, "I'm reclaiming my sacred sleep." When we examine the power of forgiveness, we're actually looking at one of the most profound healing mechanisms available to us. Studies at major universities have found that people who practice genuine forgiveness experience measurable improvements in heart health, immune function, and even sleep quality. The mind-body connection here isn't just theoretical, it's tangible. I've seen clients transform chronic conditions after addressing deep-seated resentments they'd carried for decades. The emotional liberation creates a physiological cascade that allows the body's natural healing processes to function optimally. This journey toward internal harmony often begins with gratitude. When we shift our attention to what we appreciate rather than what troubles us, our nervous system responds accordingly. The fight-or-flight response dampens, cortisol levels decrease, and inflammatory markers in the blood actually show measurable improvement. This isn't wishful thinking, it's biology responding to our psychological state. What fascinates me most is how these principles have been applied in the most extreme circumstances. During World War II, there's documentation of military families being instructed by authorities to engage in a specific mental practice. As their loved ones faced danger overseas, they were encouraged to set aside time each night, typically around bedtime, to visualize a protective shield surrounding their soldiers. They would project thoughts of safety, strength, and protection across the miles. The fascinating part wasn't just the practice itself, but the reported outcomes. Soldiers whose families engaged in these consistent visualization routines often described inexplicable moments where they felt compelled to move positions just before artillery struck, or experienced unusual clarity during chaos. The hidden revelation here is that these weren't viewed as coincidences, but as evidence of an energetic connection that transcended physical distance. This consciousness-based approach to wellness represents a paradigm shift in how we understand healing. The mind doesn't just influence the body. In many ways, it creates the conditions for either disease or recovery. When we recognize this profound interconnection, we begin to take greater responsibility for our thought patterns, knowing they're continuously sending signals throughout our physical system. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how specific thought patterns create predictable physiological responses, and how we can harness this understanding to address even the most persistent health challenges. The transformation begins when we realize that many of the limitations we've accepted about healing are based on outdated models that separate mind and body, rather than recognizing their inseparable nature. If what I'm sharing resonates with your own experiences or observations about health and healing, write "connected wisdom" in the comments below. Now that we understand the blueprint for our journey into constructive sleep, let's explore the fascinating revelations from modern neuroscience that validate what Cayce understood nearly a century ago. This alignment between ancient wisdom and cutting-edge science represents one of the most profound hidden truths about human consciousness that remains largely overlooked. When neuroscientists study brain activity during sleep, they observe remarkable patterns that show our subconscious mind actively processing, sorting, and integrating information. This isn't just passive rest. It's a transformation laboratory where your mind conducts its most important work. During deep sleep stages, your brain conducts essential maintenance, strengthening neural pathways that support your health objectives, consolidating learning, and even solving problems that seemed insurmountable during waking hours. What's particularly striking is how these findings mirror Cayce's description of the mind as the builder during sleep. The subconscious doesn't simply file away the day's events. It actively constructs your physical and mental framework based on the blueprint you provide before sleep. This explains why the thoughts you entertain before bed have such a dramatic impact on your well-being. Your mind is quite literally building your future health condition during these critical hours. Consider the compelling research on sleep's role in immune function. Studies show that quality sleep enhances your body's defense systems, while poor sleep dramatically weakens them. This isn't coincidental. It's a direct manifestation of the mind-body connection that Cayce described. Your thoughts before sleep become instructions that your subconscious diligently implements throughout the night. The implications of this knowledge extend far beyond just getting better rest. We're talking about a fundamental shift in understanding human potential. By consciously directing this powerful subconscious activity, you gain access to internal resources most people never learn to harness. This represents one of the most significant yet underutilized pathways to personal evolution available to us. What's truly remarkable is the simplicity of this approach. Unlike complex medical interventions or difficult lifestyle overhauls, this method requires only a few minutes of intentional focus before sleep. Yet the compounding benefits over time can be extraordinary. Each night becomes an opportunity for renewal and realignment with your highest aspirations. I've witnessed countless individuals transform chronic health conditions, overcome persistent mental blocks, and discover new depths of creativity. Simply by applying these principles consistently, the journey always begins with recognizing the immense power of those precious moments before sleep. If you're resonating with these insights about the mind's constructive power during sleep, type "Builder Mode activated" in the comments below. Now, I want to go even deeper into the practical application of these principles by examining the specific thought patterns that yield the most powerful results. The role our subconscious plays as this remarkable bridge between dimensions deserves deeper exploration. Picture your subconscious mind as a translator, constantly interpreting messages between your higher self and your physical existence. This communication doesn't pause when you're awake. It's simply that during sleep, the channel becomes far more direct and unobstructed. This insight reveals something profound about our sleeping hours. While your conscious mind rests, your subconscious becomes extraordinarily receptive to the wisdom and guidance flowing from your higher self. It's during this sacred time that the most transformative work occurs beneath the surface of awareness. What's particularly fascinating is how emotions function during this process. They aren't merely feelings. They're energetic transmissions carrying powerful information across this psychic bridge. When you fall asleep carrying feelings of unworthiness, fear, or resentment, these emotional energies actively shape your physical reality. They instruct your cells, influence your biochemistry, and ultimately manifest in your physical experience upon waking. This revelation brings us to a hidden truth many overlook. Your bedtime routine isn't just about rest. It's a crucial spiritual practice. The emotional state you cultivate before sleep significantly impacts your journey of manifestation and healing. Those who've mastered this connection often report experiencing profound breakthroughs in their lives, seemingly overnight. Think of your nightly sleep as a reunion with your higher wisdom. During these hours, your higher self whispers guidance that your subconscious faithfully delivers to your physical body. This guidance travels on the wings of emotion, which explains why emotional awareness becomes so central to conscious manifestation. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how ancient traditions recognized this connection long before modern psychology. From Egyptian dream temples to Tibetan dream yoga, cultures throughout history developed sophisticated practices to harness this nighttime bridge. They understood that this twilight state between worlds offers unparalleled opportunities for healing and manifestation. The journey toward mastering this connection begins with intentional awareness of what you're feeling as you drift into sleep. It's not about forcing positive emotions, but rather about authentic emotional presence. By acknowledging whatever you're truly experiencing without judgment, you create clarity in the messages transmitted across this psychic bridge. If you've been experiencing this connection between your sleep state and manifestation ability in your own life, write "bridge activated" in the comments. I'd love to hear about your personal experiences with this phenomenon. Beyond just the physical aspects of sleep, I've been fascinated by how our mental state right before bed dramatically shapes not just our dreams, but our healing capacity. When working, With families who incorporated pre-sleep visualizations, the transformations were often remarkable. One mother I counseled had a son with recurring nightmares. They began a simple 5-minute visualization practice where he imagined being surrounded by protective golden light before sleep. Within just 2 weeks, not only did the nightmares subside, but his teacher noted he seemed more focused and resilient during school days. The powerful bridge between consciousness and unconsciousness that forms during those precious moments before sleep creates a unique opportunity for healing. Our brains become more receptive during this transition, allowing deeply embedded patterns to shift in ways that aren't possible during our fully aware state. What's particularly impactful is establishing a pre-sleep routine that extends beyond mere relaxation. When we incorporate positive affirmations, gratitude practices, and spiritual connection before sleep, we're essentially programming our internal healing systems. I've observed that people who maintain consistent bedtime rituals that include these elements report more profound restorative effects than those focused solely on physical comfort. The journey toward better sleep often reveals hidden truths about our relationship with ourselves. Many clients discover that their resistance to proper sleep hygiene actually stems from deeper beliefs about deserving rest or permission to temporarily release their responsibilities. This revelation alone can be transformative. In my practice, I've found that families who pray, meditate, or simply share expressions of gratitude together before bed create a powerful collective energy that enhances everyone's sleep quality. There's something about shared intention that amplifies the healing potential of the pre-sleep state. What's particularly fascinating is how these practices create ripple effects throughout other aspects of life. When we approach that boundary between wakefulness and sleep with mindfulness and positive intention, the benefits extend far beyond the bedroom. Decision-making becomes clearer, emotional regulation improves, and interpersonal connections deepen. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring how these pre-sleep practices can be customized for different age groups and specific health challenges. The science behind visualization shows us that our brains don't fully distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones, which creates a remarkable opportunity for targeted healing during sleep. If you've ever tried visualization techniques before sleep, I'd love to hear about your experience. Write peaceful nights in the comments if you've noticed how your pre-sleep thoughts affect your sleep quality. Diving deeper into Cayce's wisdom about health, what's truly transformative is how he understood the delicate dance between mind and body, decades before modern medicine acknowledged this connection. When we experience physical symptoms, we are often witnessing the culmination of a process that began in our mental and emotional realms long before. Think about that moment when you notice pain or discomfort in your body. Cayce would suggest that this physical manifestation is the final stage of a journey that began with a thought pattern or emotional response that your conscious mind might not even remember initiating. It's a profound revelation about how our internal landscape shapes our external reality. The body, in Cayce's framework, isn't just responding to physical inputs like food and exercise, though these are certainly important. It's constantly receiving and interpreting signals from our thoughts and feelings, creating a biochemical environment that either supports healing or promotes disease. This understanding offers us a hidden pathway to transformation that conventional medicine often overlooks. What makes this approach so powerful is the recognition that our subconscious mind must be fully aligned with our healing intentions. You can't simply speak affirmations with your lips while your deeper mind harbors doubt. The subconscious operates like the soil in which we plant the seeds of health. If the soil doesn't accept the seed, no amount of surface-level care will make it grow. Cayce described this alignment as a form of faith, Not necessarily religious faith, but a profound inner knowing that transcends intellectual understanding. This is why some people can repeat positive affirmations for years with minimal results, while others experience dramatic shifts in their health after genuinely embracing a new belief at the subconscious level. The journey toward this deeper acceptance often requires patience and persistence. Our subconscious patterns have been shaped by decades of experiences, cultural conditioning, and even intergenerational influences. Changing these patterns isn't about forcing a new belief system, but rather about creating the conditions where new perceptions can take root naturally. One of Cayce's most impactful insights was that true healing often involves addressing the emotional residue of past experiences. These unresolved emotions create what he called incoherence in our energy field, essentially static that disrupts the body's natural healing capacity. By bringing awareness to these emotional patterns with compassion rather than judgment, we begin a profound healing process that ultimately manifests in physical well-being. Now I want to go even deeper into how Cayce's approach to health connects with modern scientific discoveries. As we explore these connections, I'm curious, has any of this information about the mind-body connection resonated with your own health experiences? Write "Mind shapes matter" in the comments if you've noticed how your thoughts influence your physical well-being. While we're discussing this deep connection between sleep and consciousness, it's worth exploring the fascinating journey our soul takes every night. When our physical body rests, our soul doesn't simply shut down, it enters a remarkable state of heightened activity. This is where the true transformation happens that most people never consciously recognize. During sleep, our soul reconnects with the universal consciousness, that vast ocean of wisdom and energy that connects all living beings. Think of it as your spiritual self going home each night to recharge and realign. This isn't mere philosophical speculation. Many who practice deep meditation report experiencing similar states of expanded awareness while fully conscious. Sleep simply offers this experience to everyone, whether they're aware of it or not. The quality of this nightly soul journey greatly depends on how we approach sleep. This is where intention becomes so powerful. Cultivating peace before sleep, clearing your mind of the day's tensions, forgiving those who may have wronged you, and entering sleep with gratitude and calm creates the optimal conditions for your soul's nightly reconnection. When you establish this peaceful pre-sleep ritual, something remarkable happens upon waking. You return to your physical body with a certain radiance, a subtle but noticeable energy that others can sense. Have you ever noticed how some people just seem to glow with inner light? Often, these individuals have mastered this art of intentional sleep. This hidden truth reveals why sleep isn't merely a biological necessity, but a spiritual gateway. The ancients understood this profoundly, which is why sleep temples existed in many civilizations. These sacred spaces were designed specifically to facilitate this soul reconnection during sleep. Modern society has largely forgotten this wisdom, reducing sleep to mere physical rest. The journey your soul takes each night influences your waking hours in ways most never realize. Those unexpected insights that seem to arrive fully formed in your mind, those moments of clarity about a problem you've been struggling with, these are often the fruits of your soul's nighttime communion with universal consciousness. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how we can consciously prepare ourselves for this profound nightly journey. The ancient practice of dream incubation gives us clues about how to maximize this soul reconnection during sleep. If you're resonating with these ideas and perhaps recognizing patterns in your own sleep experiences, write "soul traveler" in the comments below. This connection between sleep and forgiveness isn't merely spiritual conjecture. It's backed by fascinating neurological evidence. When we harbor resentment or replay negative interactions in our minds, our bodies produce stress hormones like cortisol that disrupt sleep architecture. The ancient concept of not letting the sun go down on your anger turns out to be profound biological wisdom. I've discovered through my own journey that creating a deliberate forgiveness ritual before sleep transforms the quality of rest entirely. It might sound simple, but the impact is revolutionary. Take just 2 minutes before closing your eyes to mentally release anyone who wronged you during the day. This isn't about condoning harmful behavior. It's about freeing yourself from the biochemical prison that resentment creates in your body. The transformation happens because forgiveness shifts our nervous system from sympathetic, fight or flight, to parasympathetic, rest and digest, dominance. This neurological shift creates the optimal internal environment for the deep restoration that truly restorative sleep requires. It's a hidden truth that many sleep specialists acknowledge but rarely emphasize enough in clinical settings. What's particularly fascinating is how this practice compounds over time. The more consistently you practice pre-sleep forgiveness, the more your brain rewires itself to process emotional content more efficiently. Your resilience increases, your emotional reactivity decreases, and the quality of your relationships improves, all while you sleep better. Think about the implications. When you're sleeping better, you're making better decisions during the day, experiencing less inflammation, and even potentially extending your lifespan. The ripple effect from this simple nighttime ritual extends into every aspect of your existence. This is why I consider sleep not just a biological necessity, but truly a sacred journey, an opportunity for profound healing that goes beyond what any medication can provide. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how ancient healing traditions across cultures recognize this connection long before modern science confirmed it. These traditions understood something fundamental about human consciousness that we're only beginning to rediscover through contemporary research. What's particularly revelatory is how closely intertwined our sleep quality is with our capacity for compassion, both toward others and ourselves. The same neural networks activated during forgiveness practices are intimately connected to our brain's ability to enter and maintain restorative sleep states. If any of this resonates with your own experience, write "forgiveness heals" in the comments. Now let's explore how these principles translate into practical techniques that anyone can implement. What's particularly fascinating about sleep optimization is how our mental state before bed creates ripple effects throughout our entire physiology. When I started incorporating positive visualizations into my pre-sleep routine, I noticed something extraordinary happening, not just to my sleep quality, but to my overall cellular health. Science has begun to validate what many ancient traditions have claimed for centuries. The mind-body connection isn't just philosophical, it's biochemical. When we visualize positive outcomes or peaceful scenarios before sleep, we're actually creating a cascade of beneficial hormones that influence cellular repair mechanisms during our deepest sleep cycles. This revelation transformed my approach entirely. Rather than scrolling through social media or watching stimulating content before bed, I began dedicating 5 to 10 minutes to intentional visualization. I would picture my cells regenerating, my muscles recovering, and my mind organizing the day's information, essentially programming my subconscious for the work it would do while I slept. The discipline required for this nightly ritual wasn't always easy to maintain. There were nights I felt too tired or distracted, but I noticed that consistency was the hidden multiplier. The nights I maintained my pre-sleep discipline correlated directly with mornings where I woke feeling genuinely refreshed, not just less tired. What shocked me most was how these mental practices began manifesting in physical improvements. My recovery times between workouts shortened, My skin appeared more vibrant. Even my digestive system seemed to function more efficiently. These weren't placebo effects. They were measurable shifts in my physical well-being. I later discovered research suggesting that visualization activates many of the same neural pathways as actually performing an activity. When applied before sleep, this mental rehearsal essentially primes your body's systems for optimization during the night. Your brain doesn't fully distinguish between vividly imagined experiences and real ones, which means we can leverage this blurred line between perception and reality for our benefit. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how combining this visualization practice with specific breathing techniques can amplify the regenerative effects even further. The journey toward optimal sleep isn't just about duration, it's about creating the ideal internal landscape for transformation while you're unconscious. If you've experienced similar effects from pre-sleep mental practices, write mindful nights in the comments so we can identify others exploring this same fascinating terrain. Sleep truly serves as the workshop where our future reality is constructed, thread by thread, neuron by neuron. This isn't merely poetic language, it's the hidden mechanism behind lasting transformation. When we close our eyes at night, our brain doesn't simply shut down. It begins an intricate process of restoration and integration that directly shapes our physical health, emotional resilience, and cognitive capacity for the coming day. The remarkable journey happens in stages, with each sleep cycle serving a distinct purpose in your holistic well-being. Deep sleep, for instance, triggers the release of growth hormone, repairing damaged tissues and strengthening your immune system. Meanwhile, REM sleep processes emotional experiences, helping to dissolve the day's stress while consolidating memories that matter. But here's the revelation that changed my perspective entirely. The state of your consciousness right before sleep acts as a powerful programming sequence for your subconscious. Think of those final moments before drifting off as planting seeds in fertile soil. The thoughts, intentions, and emotions present during these precious minutes will grow throughout the night, ultimately coloring your morning experience. This insight into the architecture of sleep explains why some people consistently wake up energized, while others feel drained despite getting the same number of hours. The quality of your thoughts before sleep directly influences the quality of your rest and consequently your next day's performance. Those who intentionally direct their minds toward gratitude, possibility, and peaceful resolution before sleeping are essentially encoding these patterns into their neural pathways all night long. I discovered this profound connection through my own journey with sleep optimization. After years of inconsistent energy levels, despite adequate sleep duration, I began experimenting with pre-sleep mental routines. The results were nothing short of transformative. By consciously releasing concerns and focusing on growth-oriented thoughts before bed, my mornings became remarkably more vibrant and productive. The science behind this process reveals that your brain waves shift from beta, active thinking, to alpha, relaxed awareness, and then theta, drowsy, meditative state, as you prepare for sleep. That theta state creates a unique window where your subconscious mind becomes exceptionally receptive to suggestion and imagery. This explains why the ancient wisdom traditions across cultures have always emphasized the importance of your mental state before sleep. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by exploring specific techniques that leverage this natural phenomenon. Think of your pre-sleep minutes as the most powerful programming opportunity you have each day. By intentionally directing these precious moments, you're essentially designing tomorrow's experience tonight. If you've noticed this connection between your pre-sleep thoughts and your morning state, type mindful sleep in the comments. I'm curious how many of you have already discovered this hidden lever of transformation. The power of these pre-sleep moments extends beyond just mental clarity. There's a profound physiological transformation happening in your body. When you align your thoughts with positive emotions before bed, you're essentially reprogramming your autonomic nervous system. Your heart rate variability improves, blood pressure normalizes, and stress hormones like cortisol begin to dissipate, making way for the release of healing compounds throughout your system. What's fascinating is how this ripple effect continues long after you've fallen asleep. Your subconscious mind, now bathed in these beneficial thoughts, works silently through the night to integrate these patterns deeper into your cognitive framework. It's like giving your mind a healing blueprint to work with while you rest. The practice of forgiveness before sleep deserves special attention in this journey. When I first discovered its impact, I was genuinely surprised by how dramatically it changed my sleep quality. Holding on to resentment, even subtly, creates a continuous low-grade stress response in your body. It's like trying to sleep with a small pebble in your shoe. You might manage it, but you'll never achieve deep, restorative rest. When you consciously release forgiveness, whether toward others or yourself, you're making a profound neurological shift. The amygdala, your brain's threat detection center, actually begins to calm down. This isn't just emotional work. It's physiological rewiring that enables deeper sleep cycles and more effective cellular repair during the night. What makes this approach particularly valuable is its accessibility. Unlike many wellness practices that require special equipment, significant time, commitments, or physical capabilities, these pre-sleep thought patterns can be cultivated by anyone, regardless of circumstances. It's perhaps the most democratic healing tool available to us, completely free and universally applicable. I've noticed in my own experience that the consistency of this practice creates a kind of momentum. The brain begins to anticipate this calming ritual, and over time, the mere act of lying down becomes a trigger for positive emotional states. This is where the true transformation occurs, when what began as a conscious practice evolves into an automatic response. Now I want to go even deeper into how these pre-sleep thought patterns specifically influence your dream state, which in turn affects how you process emotions and experiences from your day. The connection between your conscious thoughts before sleep and the symbolic processing that happens during REM cycles reveals fascinating patterns that can accelerate your personal growth. If you're recognizing these patterns in your own life, type "mindful nights" in the comments. I'd love to hear from others who've experienced this remarkable shift. What's remarkable about your subconscious mind is its receptivity to vivid imagery. When you close your eyes and mentally construct detailed, emotionally charged scenes, your subconscious doesn't distinguish between what's imagined and what's physically happening. This is the hidden truth behind why visualization techniques can trigger actual physiological responses in your body, from lowering blood pressure to accelerating healing processes. Think about those moments just before sleep. Your conscious mind begins to quiet, creating the perfect window for transformation. This twilight state is when the barriers between your conscious and subconscious mind become most permeable. The thoughts you entertain during these precious minutes can quite literally program your mental landscape for the hours that follow. Many of us squander this powerful opportunity by replaying worries or scrolling through social media, inadvertently feeding our subconscious with chaotic, unproductive material. The journey toward harnessing your subconscious begins with understanding this critical transition period. Those who experience profound personal breakthroughs often share one common practice. They've learned to guard and intentionally direct their thoughts during these pre-sleep moments. Instead of letting your mind wander aimlessly, try crafting specific positive affirmations or visualizing successful outcomes to situations you're facing. Your subconscious also responds powerfully to belief. When you deeply believe something is possible, you create neurological pathways that support that reality. This isn't mystical thinking. It's the science of neuroplasticity at work. Your brain physically restructures itself around your most persistent thoughts and beliefs. This revelation explains why two people can experience identical circumstances yet walk away with completely different outcomes. The impact of this understanding extends beyond individual experience. Collectively, our subconscious patterns shape families, organizations, and entire societies. Consider how often group dynamics reflect shared, unspoken beliefs. Teams that consistently succeed often share a subconscious expectation of excellence that becomes self-fulfilling. Now, I want to go even deeper into this practical application. The quality of the mental images you feed your subconscious determines the quality of your life experience. When you consistently visualize health, your subconscious begins coordinating countless bodily processes to align with that image. Your immune system responds differently. Your nervous system calms. Even your hormonal balance shifts subtly toward homeostasis. This isn't wishful thinking. It's your body's innate intelligence responding to the clearest signals it receives from you. If you're nodding along as you listen to this, type, "My mind creates my reality," in the comments below. I'm curious how many of you are already working with these principles in your daily life. We often underestimate how our pre-sleep state shapes our entire health journey. Cayce's wisdom reveals something profound here. Those final moments before we drift into unconsciousness aren't just throwaway time. They're gateways to transformation. When we approach sleep with cluttered minds, rehashing the day's frustrations or scrolling through endless social media feeds, we're essentially programming our subconscious for discord. What if instead we created a sacred transition? This isn't just about feeling better momentarily. The research suggests that your autonomic nervous system actually responds differently to sleep when you've created harmony beforehand. Your cortisol levels stabilize, your inflammatory markers decrease, and your body enters deeper, more restorative sleep cycles. I've personally discovered that implementing even a simple 5-minute ritual of gratitude and conscious breathing creates a remarkable shift. The insights gained from studying Cayce's approach revealed that this pre-sleep harmony isn't merely psychological comfort. It's biochemical preparation for your body's overnight restoration work. Now, regarding inner peace before sleep, this might seem abstract, but it's actually quite tangible in its effects. When we align our consciousness with acceptance rather than resistance before sleep, we're essentially giving our body permission to conduct its healing operations without interference. Think of it as removing the roadblocks so your internal healing highway can flow freely. The mind-body connection during sleep is particularly potent. Your subconscious mind, which governs roughly 95% of your bodily functions, takes center stage while you dream. By intentionally cultivating peace before this transition, you're setting the stage for a night of alignment rather than struggle. There's something truly remarkable about how this practice compounds over time. One peaceful night might give you a better morning, but 30 consecutive nights of pre-sleep harmony can fundamentally rewire your neural pathways. Your baseline stress response begins to change, your emotional resilience strengthens, and your physical vitality increases. This approach isn't about perfection. Some nights will naturally be more challenging than others. The key is consistency and intention, creating a pathway toward what Cayce describes as alignment with our divine plan. This isn't necessarily religious language. It's acknowledging that our bodies have an inherent wisdom and roadmap for optimal functioning. Now, I want to go even deeper into this topic by examining how these pre-sleep practices interact with our body's natural healing rhythms and why timing matters just as much as the practice itself. The revelation here is that specific windows of opportunity exist within our sleep cycles that can amplify healing when we've properly prepared. If Cayce's approach to pre-sleep harmony resonates with your own experiences, type "peaceful nights" in the comments below. If what we've explored about pre-sleep harmony has touched something in you, I'd love to know. This journey toward better health through intentional rest isn't just theory. It's a practice that grows more powerful with each night you commit to it. Subscribe to join our community of mindful sleepers if you want to continue exploring these hidden dimensions of wellness. The insights we share here go beyond the surface-level sleep tips you'll find elsewhere. If you've made it all the way through our exploration together, type "peaceful nights" in the comments. I'd love to know who's embracing this approach to evening tranquility. Leave a like if something in this message resonated with your own sleep journey. It helps others discover these conversations too. I've prepared another video that explores how to create your personal evening ritual based on these principles. Click right here to continue our conversation about transforming your nights and, by extension, your life.